The banished court magician aims to become the strongest, chat. How many main characters always want to be the strongest? I mean, can we be like, second best? Can you make a story out of that, chat? Whatever. Let's just talk about this. So I took a look at a bunch of new anime that just came out. Nothing in terms of a banger. Nothing like that. I didn't see anything like that. However, this new anime that I saw right now only has 2 episodes, and it made me laugh a little bit. Not in the, hey, this is hilarious kind of thing, but more of a, who the heck is this? Like, right off the bat, you see this boy, he's just fishing, as people do. And out of nowhere, this guy with the staff, like, hey, you wanna, learn some magic? Or as you should. You remember that one anime we talk about where it was talk about the girl wanted to find gems or rocks or whatever you want to call them, chat. And it was such a very sus experience, but she started going out with this lady that she never met. Not going out like, I'm dating you, but more like, heading out into the mountains, which is also worse. It's also as bad. You don't do any of that. All right. So she started going off like not even knowing this lady. This kind of happens here, but at least we see here where he's like, who are you? I didn't get any of that from that one girl in that other anime. So as you can tell, he starts teaching her magic and all that nonsense. You see a little bit of that. Nothing too grandiose. They kind of, what I saw with this anime, they kind of speed through. It makes sense, right? They kind of speed through a lot of the training montage, right? How he got there and all that stuff. Something you probably would have seen in full in the manga. And my understanding of why they would do this is because they only have so much of a budget, chat. You can't really blame them for that, right? However, this scene kind of actually made me laugh a little bit because apparently the guy doesn't even know how to fish. He knows how to, I think anybody knows how to fish, right, chat? Like, you just put the hook on the line, you put a worm on there, and then you tire out the fish in a no diddy fashion. You know what I mean, chat? You know what I mean? Just the fish. It's a if you can't do it, just jump in there and go fish, swim around and grab it. You've seen Nemo. Anyway, chat. So he tells him that he has to leave, right? He tells him he has to leave and gives like no context, as you do in any anime, right? People don't know how to talk in anime, do they? It's very, very weird stuff. Someone should really look into that. I think there's a bunch of psychopaths in anime, not people who love anime, but people like the characters in anime. I feel like they're just all crazy. So he tells him not to join the court of magicians or whatever, the royal court. He tells him not to join the royal court. You know what he does? He's like, I'm gonna join the royal court. I'm like, boy, if I he literally told him that, and he said your late mother. Apparently she was late for something, Chad. I'm not really sure. She was, I don't know. She's been late for many years. Who knows? But he says, your late mother, I think, asked me to do this, train you on magic, all that fun stuff. But supposedly from his experience with joining the royal court, he tells the boy, like, don't do it. Don't do it. But he doesn't give really much any context. If you tell somebody to do something, right, that's supposedly good for them, but you don't explain why, they're probably not going to listen to you. They said, hey, do not touch that flower. Okay, why? Well, anyway, bye. It's just so stupid, man. You gotta give context. You explain, like, do not go to the royal court because they're a bunch of jerks. All right, they're gonna treat you like garbage. I know what I'm talking about. Like you will flourish by like. But his whole argument of like the boy when he grew up and joined the royal court, his whole argument of doing that is like, oh, I want to change the royal court. I'm like, why? Why? He said the reason why he wants to change the royal court is to make him proud. I'm like, the dude that taught you magic isn't even in the royal court anymore. So why? Like, there's a whole new world out there. A whole new world out there, chat. You don't need to, associate yourself with like the royal court unless you have an absolute reason, like, oh man, I want to be royalty or something like that. But no, his reasoning for that is totally stupid. He wants to pay him back by changing the royal court. And I'm like, it's admirable, right? But the guy who taught you, whatever, I'm saying the same thing over and over again in different ways. So This is where he realizes, oh, this is why he wanted me to stay out of the royal court. So he joins a party, and we have the prince, right? Who's upset because the main character isn't pulling his weight. He didn't eat enough McDonald's. He's just look at that. He's got no meat on the bones. But he's upset that he's not pulling his weight, right, chat? But his job in the party is to play support, right? Like that's his job, to play support and to boost him with his magic. You got this girl over here, this lady right here, she has her like offensive magic. You got this tank over here who's like, whatever he does. And he's like supporting everybody with his magic. Everyone has a role, but he's upset. Like, hey, you're not being more offensive. Like, well, that's not my role. My role is to support you guys. But what makes it worse is that, like, we'll get into that. Like this whole face, everybody seems to have that. So he gets kicked out of the royal court. They won't let him in, but he says, hey, something's crazy is going to happen if you go any lower inside the dungeons, right? Dungeon crawl kind of anime, chat. This is what you're going to be looking at. This face is this stupid smug face. Chat, I don't mind people being smug, but when you're like blatantly smug to an evil point, it's like, I think a really good character, right, chat, is one that is like kind of blurs the line between good and bad, right? There are a few characters like that one from the Puss in Boots movie where the dude was just blatantly bad, right? He was just a blatantly bad guy. He had like no real reason for being bad. He just wanted to be bad, right? He had his goal of wanting to like, all the magical items in the world, but he just wanted to be bad. He's going to sit at the top as one of the perfect villains, right up there with Frieza, right? I mean, you could also go with, I think his name is Dio or whatever his name is. He's from the JoJo Bizarre Adventures. That dude, he's bad, but he's like annoying bad. Like he had like no real reason aside from just like being a hater. A hater kind of bad is just is a dumb bad, a bad guy. You know what I'm saying, chat? He's just a player hater. Over here, these guys are just like bad in a bad, not bad as in like you're bad to the bone, but bad as in you're stupid, but not even there, like whatever. I'm just saying the villain from the Puss in Boots anime is a bad guy, but he's a good bad guy. This one is a bad guy. All right. Like, how you gonna be so confident in your wrongness? That is the problem with anybody. It could be in an anime or a cartoon or real life. For real, chat. So, as you might have already guessed, with almost any anime really, he meets one of his childhood friends, or at least back to school. I guess you can call them childhood friends from back in school. Who put them into school, chat? Did you have to pay for the wizarding school? Is he your Harry Potter kind of thing? Anyway, I've been watching Harry Potter, chat. I've been binge watching it. I love it. I love Harry Potter. Well, I wouldn't say I love Harry Potter, but I am really enjoying the experience. Yeah. They be doing some stupid stuff in there. Anyway, so he meets his childhood friend. He say, hey, you want to join my party and whatnot and all that stuff? And he has like an emotional, and one thing I found very stupid is that he has like an emotional like breakdown a little bit when she asked like to join the former party with her to hold up to the promise that he made a long time ago, which seems to be a very odd trend. I don't see this trend anymore, but I think it's still a trend where you're like, oh, you remember that promise you made me a long time ago? Yada yada this, yada yada that. You find that in anime a lot. I'm not saying I'm annoyed with it that it needs to be removed, chat. I'm just pointing it out, all right? Anime is perfect how it is. Like, I'm just, like, look, I'm not that kind of anime lover, all right? Like, oh, man, they should really remove that from the anime. Why is that even a thing? It's so annoying. Shut up. Shut up and stop watching anime if you hate it so much. Anyway, so he has an emotional breakdown because he's like, oh, I feel like I'm not good enough to be a part of a party. Like, I'm a retired, not a retired, but I'm like a banished court mage and everything. So who would ever want me kind of thing right here. And I'm like, bro, and I have to stop for a second. I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense if you've done something like for 10 years, 20 years, or however long you've done it for years, like most of your life. And then you get removed from it. You get broken up by it. I personally have never had that experience, chat, but some people aren't, they may be very smart, but they're just not mentally tough, chat. Some people are just built different. Yes, I am built different. I never had that problem, chat. Anyway, the scene goes over to like the prince and his like his little courtroom of buddies, like smug buddies. I think the only one who isn't smug is this one. He's like the only one who isn't smug, but only because they don't really want to give him any personality, or like he's covered up. Why are you wearing a helmet? The hat the witch's hat I can get behind, right? This right here, I can like, okay, you're inside. But if you're something like this, like you can take that off. You're not outside, all right? You can put it off to the side or something. You don't have to wear it. Show us your eyes. Show us your eyes. He's one of those characters, chat, that they clearly didn't want to give this character too much depth. This one over here, the girl, she clearly has enough depth. Like she was given some depth, right? Just a little bit, just to have some type of personality. But this guy over here, he's maybe he's gonna be on. I did watch only episode 1, so who knows, chat? Who knows? So they're over here drinking wine and all that. Probably not even old enough to drink wine, right? I'll just go for some grape juice. Can I have some ice in mine, please? Wait a minute. No, don't do that. Anyway, ice and grape wine. What? So, like I said before, I don't like these bad guys. And maybe, now that I think about it, maybe they're written very perfect for where they are, because if they're young and they just have like this type of hater type of energy, I guess you could really see that, all right, chat? But that blatant, when it comes to characters that are blatantly bad, I'm not a big fan of those. They're just blatantly, like, they're not subtle about their wickedness. When the writer creates a character that isn't subtle about anything, really, like, come on, you gotta have like some class, not some class, but just a subtlety. You need subtlety when you come to these terrible characters. I like the character design. The character looks cool, and I hope there's like more to it. Maybe hopefully a redemption or something like that. I don't know, chat. I just need subtlety to evil. And so these are what makes me kind of excited about this this anime a little bit. I probably will watch the second episode. I'm just watching it to bring it to your attention, chat. But this is probably, I feel like he could have been the main character. Instead, it's this one, and this one doesn't really have a backbone. Maybe because he's a wizard. Chat, I want to see a buff wizard. I was watching Harry Potter and I was like, is wizard and magician the same thing? Anyway, I was watching Harry Potter. I'm like, can we just see Dumbledore take off his robe and you just have like a 6-pack? Or no, wait, even one of the witches, that old lady witch, just take off her robe and she just has a 6-pack and just like jacked arms and everything. You say, hey, what's that whole scene, like, I'm all out of magic but not all out of options kind of thing? Man, they need to work out. I'm just saying, I feel like it's like that that magic and muscle anime where he's like freaking, he has no magic powers but he's like really buff, right? Or at least really capable. He's not like, really buff, you know what I mean, like a Hulk Hogan or something like that. No, not Hulk Hogan, Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. Yeah, I want to see a wizard like that. Is that, hey, you've been punching your opponents a lot. Like, yeah, so you have magic, right? Yeah, but I feel so limited with my magic compared to my muscles. I feel so limited with I'm just saying, chat, somebody needs to work out, because none of these magicians or wizards or witches or whatever you want to call them doing nothing. But like I said, this has got to be my favorite character because it's just his energy, really. Like, I like this one, and these two seem to be very funny to them. They bring the comedy. Like they always like fighting with each other. They're friends, but they're always fighting. The main character, I'm not too interested in. There's just one anime that I think we might have actually talked about this like a few videos ago, where we had the main character, but one of his friends were the violent ones and the deadliest one. Like, the main character was tough and could get stronger, but he wasn't on that level like his friends. Like, he was like, the main character was the leader, but the main character didn't have that dog in them. It was, oh man, it shocked me, because there was a scene where he was taking out all these these army guards, and then he was like, hey, look, you already know how this is going to play out, so I'm going to let you leave. You can drop your weapons and just leave. Pick up your friends and go. And they dropped their weapons and they left. But he was like, nah. And then he just took them all out. he ran up on him and just took them all out. And I'm like, I thought you were the good guy. Good guys. Like, no, he's a good guy. He's ruthless. And I think we need more of that in the anime. But it'd be hard, chat. You end up in a situation like, anime is too violent. Like, it has like sending a wrong message for like all these things. I'm like, we have the show called like The Boys and everything, and all that violence right there. I'm not saying we need to take a page out of their book. I'm just saying Goody Goody Two Shoes anime is kind of, here's the crutch, chat. A lot of the animes preach really good values, but at the same time, it's these Goody Goody Two Shoes are getting like kind of lame on some level. They're like baby's first anime, if I'm being honest, right? Like, you have a few anime that are out right now that have like that grime and that grit and that, hey, I'm the main character. I'm a good guy deep down, but deeper down than that, I'm like terrible because someone like, betrayed me, or someone betrayed me even more. I couldn't think of anything else. So I probably will be following up with this one. It's a decent one. It's a, like I said, for other anime, it's a good baby's first anime. If you ever watched anime and never watched anime before, I would suggest watching this one. This would really get you involved. You don't need to watch something like Bleach or Naruto or Dragon Ball to be your first anime. Like, it was first anime for a lot of people. However, you don't necessarily need that. If you wanted to show your friend something, but you really didn't want them to get into the big names, something like this would be a good area. If you're trying to find someone who's like, you have like a niece or a nephew who's like around 10 or whatever, you could show them something like this. Can you 10? Maybe 15? I don't care. Do whatever you feel is best for your family. But this is one of those animes that would easily be for anybody. Anyway, chat. On with the rest of the show.